Palestine Action arrests are condemned as deeply alarming, while British the press remain silent. Going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. So the Liberal Democrats described the arrest of campaigners against the ban on the group as a dangerous precedent for free speech, yet the British press remain largely silent about it. It's very frustrating, guys. Now, look, the problem is that the problem is that Palestine Action is still deemed a terrorist group. Yes, I don't agree with the law on it. Yes, I don't agree that they should be prescribed as that. And yes, of course, I do believe it will get overturned, but it's going to take time before it gets overturned, guys, as frustrating it is going to be. But the thing is that demanding that the British press shout about it, the problem is that it's not good clicks for them. And that's the problem. They don't see this. Oh, this is good stuff. We'll definitely talk about this. No, they're more interested in talking about the hotels in Epping or the migrant crisis or what's about to come out of Nigel Farage's mouth next, unfortunately, or Angela Rayner and her so-called tax dodging or something. You know, those are more interesting stories and more clickbait headlines rather than Palestine Action, which has been deemed a terrorist group, even though I don't agree with it. So what do you do? The problem is that the media, we've said this time and time again about how we need media reform in the UK as a whole. We need stronger regulations because we have the likes of GB News being able to flaunt so much rubbish into the minds of people. We have the likes of Talk TV that spaff a lot of rubbish. We have influencers who flat out lie about things that are happening as well. There's a lot of misinformation out there that are poisoning every single day the minds of the British public. And it's becoming more and more problematic with this Labour government not doing anything about it. They're not doing enough to against this media because the majority of the mainstream media want Nigel Farage as Prime Minister. They want this reform to be in power because it will be great headlines, it will be great clicks, it will get engagement. They see Nigel Farage as a cash cow, and he will be a cash cow because right now Keir Starmer's a boring person. He's always been prescribed as a boring person, and he still is a boring person even as Prime Minister. And that's the reality of where the British press are, I'm afraid, guys. So the arrest of 5 spokespeople from the Lift the Ban campaign against the prescription of pro-Gaza group Palestine Action, now designated a terror organisation, has been damned as chilling by the Liberal Democrats and the human rights group Amnesty International. So speaking to Byline Times, the Lib Dems call for a review in the controversial law which outlawed the Direct Action Group, members of which are accused of breaking into RAF Brize Norton in June this year to sabotage the aircraft they believe that was designed to assist Israel's war on Gaza. Now, bear in mind that is what the straws that broke the camel's back. I have said this before about Palestine Action. I want to make this clear as well. There were allegations that some members in other actions that they have done, where they have allegedly assaulted people or physical altercations with other people in actions that they have done, and these are allegations. They've not been found. The people responsible have not been found guilty or innocent, as far as I'm aware, still at the time of this recording. But obviously, those are pretty strong allegations on members of Palestine Action putting their physical hands on people. But even if these cases that they have are found to be guilty, it still is not enough for me to just prescribe them as a terror organization because they're not causing actual terror. But the problem is that the legal definition of terrorist in the UK states that obviously causing criminal damage does count as one of the definitions of what it is to be a terrorist organization. And that is where they're using that one part of the terrorist organization to proclaim everyone in Palestine Action as a terrorist organization, based on sabotage that they have been done. The alleged participants were arrested under existing laws, but the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper rushed out of the designation of Palestine Action as a terrorist group shortly after, meaning supporters of the organisation can now land over a decade in prison. The Liberal Democrats have now added their calls to warnings from Amnesty International after counter-terrorism police arresting 5 of the Lift the Ban campaign's key spokesperson in Dawn Ray's in London on Tuesday morning over Lift the Ban protest under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act 2000. Today, the Daily Mail and The Sun have both front pages dedicated to attacking an alleged assault on a free speech in the UK, focusing on the arrest of Father Ted writer and anti-trans activist Graham Lineham over allegations of inciting violence. The Mail claims Britain is becoming North Korea, while The Sun says the UK is effed, but they do not mention the arrest of pro-Gaza campaigners. While I get where Byline Times are going with this argument piece in this thread here, but I have to point out that while of course it's easy to say that, the problem is that they are designated as a terrorist group, even though that we don't believe that they are. And you can't make the Mail on Sunday put the headlines that you want them to put as well. I mean, I'm not a fan of either of them for obvious reasons. So meanwhile, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is in the US, seamlessly calling for sanctions on the UK by Donald Trump to push Keir Starmer to appeal the Online Safety Act, which he claims is undermining free speech. Yeah, he doesn't mention any of the free speech being suppressed by those who are against him. The Lift the Ban campaign is being spearheaded by Defend Our Jurors, a group initially set up to defend the climate campaigners from the likes of Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil facing criminal action. DOJ founder Tim Crossland was arrested just hours before he was due to hold a press conference announcing that the mass action against terror ban on Palestine Action will proceed in Parliament Square on Saturday the 6th of September from 1 p.m. At least 1,000 people have now pledged to hold signs saying I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action this weekend, according to the group. Over 700 people have now been arrested opposing the Palestine Action ban, including 500 over the last demonstration outside Parliament Square. And more than 100 of them have now been formally charged for peaceful protests shortly after the ban came into force. The vast majority of attendees were sitting down holding cardboard signs. Defend Our Jurors hope to make the ban on PA untenable given the scale of potential arrest. The Defend Our Jurors has said it is a mass action that will go ahead on Saturday, despite the target arrest of key spokespeople. The arrest includes a young law student, Paddy Friend, who was due to speak at the press conference alongside Tim Crossland. You can see a video of his arrest here, so they've got a video link there for it. Liberal Democrat spokesperson for Home Affairs Lisa Smart told Byline Times that the arrest of these campaigners under terror laws, following hundreds of arrests under the same powers last month, is deeply alarming. If charged, they could face up to 14 years in prison for simply expressing their support for Palestine Action. The right to peaceful protest is a cornerstone of a liberal democracy, and it sets a dangerous precedent and risks a chilling impact on free speech and legitimised protest. For all they talk about free speech, yeah, those on the right, the likes of Reform and Nigel Farage, where are they on this? They're nowhere to be seen, are they? They don't seem to have a problem with this, do they? Smart added that the arrests were exactly what we were warned about when the Conservatives expanded terrorism powers in 2018. Lib Dems abstained on the actual ban on Palestine Action. However, the party has the same legislation outlawed two neo-Nazi Russian terror groups. Smart added this Labour government has adopted the Conservative playbook instead of defending people's right to approach peaceful protests. And there is no doubt that those using violence, anti-Semitic abuse, or hate speech must face serious consequences, but these crimes are already covered by existing law. She reiterated Lib Dems' call for an urgent review of police powers in the light of the arrest. Amnesty International has launched a global campaign condemning the arrest of Lift the Ban campaigners, the hitting out on raids on their homes as a blatant attempt to muzzle freedom of speech and a terrifying example of UK authorities' willingness to use authoritarianism practices to silence dissent. Calling for the immediate release, Amnesty describes the arrest of the spokesperson for the campaign to lift the ban on Palestine Action as a clear violation of international law. Amnesty says the launch of its global campaign against the apparent clampdown on protests in the UK is unprecedented, with this being the first time that the UK will be subject of a global Amnesty International urgent action about the right to protest. And the Met Police has been contacted for comment with regards to this article. Yeah, it's one rule for one and one rule for another, basically, here, guys. I really hope that they do not face 14 years in prison. But the figures as well is that we know that our prison system is currently overcrowded as well. So it even makes them to even apply 14 years is going to be very difficult for them to do so as well. Yeah, it's so bad. Labour looks so bad on this, from on the perspective of when in terms of free speech, from a group that, in my view, is not a terrorist organisation, but has been portrayed as one. And I definitely believe, and I strongly believe that it's not just because of Yvette Cooper. I generally believe it's because of Israeli lobbying from those within Labour. Labour supporters of Israel and Labour Israeli lobbyists applying pressure to the Labour government to do something about Palestine Action, to try and scaremonger and to stop people speaking out about what's happening in Gaza. And I generally believe that's what they're trying to do. And innocent people are paying the price for this, for simply expressing their views. But what do you guys honestly think about all this? What do you guys make of the recent arrests while the British press remains silent? Let me know your thoughts and more on all of this down in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting and informative, please hit that like button, shares across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, click the join button below your screen here to become a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.